Hey everybody, I'm back. What I'm going to do today is work on a cake stand out of this shoestring acacia. So you can kind of see there, even just like rough chainsaw blank. There's a ton of chatoyance in this piece, and there's actually some tiger figure or a ripple, and I absolutely love this wood. I think it's as pretty or prettier than maple. So I'm gonna make 4 tiny plates, hopefully, if the last one stays together, and a cake stand out of this big boy. Oops. Originally, I planned to do the plates and the cake stand in one video, but I got it mostly put together and it was turning out to be ridiculously long. So I'm going to turn the cake stand in another video, and that'll be the second part of this series. Probably going to turn this first. And you can kind of see here, I'm going to keep this set up while I turn this small plate here, the outside of it. Because after doing 2 of them, I realized it's easier to just batch out the bottoms, and then I'm going to hollow out all of them at the same time. And then I'll have to redo all my sanding setup and everything as well. So I am also using this sanding materials that I got from a gentleman from Grit Grip at the Rocky Mountain Woodturning Symposium. So I'm not sponsored by them, although maybe someday, who knows. But I've already tried it out on these 2 over here, and I really like it. And I'm going to show you how all that works when I do the sanding on this piece right here. So really kind of like this product. I'm going to tell you more about that as I go along. It definitely has a place. So let's get this mounted up and start turning. I've got the piece all mounted up on a worm screw, and I'm turning at 1020 RPM, and just got to get my jacket on and then I'll get going. Okay, for this small stuff, I'm just using my Carter & Son parabolic cleaner. It's a 1/2 inch. I found it was quicker than trying to switch back and forth because I use this for the bottom anyway. And yeah, let's knock this thing out. All right, so from doing the other 2 plates, what I did, I had to create a spacer here anyway, since these are too shallow and I couldn't use the full depth of my worm screw. I made the spacer fairly large, and then I turned these other 2 down to the size of that. So I know when I'm doing this one and the next one, that I just need to turn the top rim down to where it meets this the spacer, and then they'll all be basically identical. So that's the method to my madness there. I've got my calipers set for my 2 3/8 Easy Wood chuck jaws, and that leaves a really nice tenon for grabbing it without leaving marks, hopefully. All right, that's the shape I want. I'm just going to use my negative rake scraper to try and do a shear scrape and clean that up, but that's pretty good. There is this little gap up here, but I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to just bring the bowl down to that. The blank itself had warped a little bit, so, but yeah, I wasn't planning it to be that tall anyway, so almost done. All right, that is a nice finish. Sand that up and then start the other one. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking. I gotta get that nub off the bottom and clean the whole bottom up. Can't forget that. I don't want to have to mess with the bottom after I've hollowed it out, so it'll be a finished piece. So I'm being super gentle here because this wood is super hard and a little bit brittle. So since my worm screw is not that deep in there, I don't want to take very aggressive cuts because it'll splinter that wood out and shoot this thing off of the lathe, which is definitely not a joyous situation. So So I've left a little flattish rim here and then dished out the middle just slightly so that it will sit flat. And if there's any warpage, it'll be easy to fix with a little bit of sandpaper. So I'd go just a hair more cleaning that up and then we'll be ready to sand. Perfect. Now you can see here in this, the light, you can see some of that rippled grain or tiger grain. It's going to be super pretty. I did a little test piece out of this and boy, is it gorgeous. So normally on the outside of bowls, I would use my drill because I feel like that makes a better finish overall. I don't like to sand at high speed, just letting the lathe do the work. I think that leaves too many circumferential marks. But for these small pieces, you just can't get a rotary sander on there. So there's really not a whole lot of choice there. So, so I'm going to kind of show you my process, what I'm doing here. Again, this wood is super hard and the end grain is almost impossible to get 100% clean cuts. So for the end grain, I do have to use some 80 grit. And this stuff is really cool. It's two-sided and it's kind of padded. So they're like Velcroed together or something. And it's got a little bit of give to it. So it's almost like a finger. It's got a little bit of a padding to it. So you can use it just like this, which I will do. And then you also have these little blocks. There's the company logo there. These little blocks, and they have them machined so cut so perfectly that they stay in. So for the larger areas, I'll use the block and then I'll take it out and I can do into these corners really nicely. So I think these will find a place in my shop because I found that they can be useful. So I'll show you how this works. Now, something I always do when I'm sanding a bowl like this, where I'm just spinning it, you can see no matter what, each grid is going to leave marks that go around in a circle here. So what I like to do is after I've done that, I'll take the sanding paper and go with the grain and across the circular marks. So it's particularly important for the end grain because that doesn't sand very easily. So that's kind of what I like to do. So I do it this way, and then we'll get rid of the sanding mark. Let's turn my dust collector back on and finish that. The one thing you saw me do in that last part there was, as this was spinning, so in here next to the foot is always the hardest part to get super clean. And I'm not perfect at it, but I'm trying to get a little better. And what I found in working with these small pieces and this sandpaper, which goes all the way to the edge, and the edges they're not gritty, so they don't dig in, that I found. So what I'm doing is, as this is spinning, I'm here and then I rotate down with the sandpaper like this. So what that does is, as I rotate down, it actually comes outward as well. So I'm sanding across those sanding marks, which is what you need to do to get rid of them. If all you ever do is just sand this way, you're just going to create more marks this way. You have to sand across them. So I found that that's a really nice little way to do that underneath with the lathe spinning forward. You can sand across there, and then I go back and just get in here with the sandpaper with the grain to just get that as nice as I can with the size of the bowl. So that was 400. So all done with that one. I will bring you back when I hollow out one of these guys. I'm going to go ahead and turn the outside of the fourth one and then bring you back when there's something new. Okay, I got the rest of the blanks all turned on the outside. And I had one that I thought was going to be good, but it exploded. This piece came off like on the first contact. So it's kind of a neat little thing, but I didn't really want that big of a feature in a bowl this size. So found another one, did that one. I had this one left, but it's a little too small on the bottom part here, so I couldn't use that one either. But I'll be able to recover and get 4 out of it. So now we'll go ahead and turn the inside. This is actually the piece I showed at the beginning. So we'll see what it looks like. All right. Handy dandy bowl scraper. Okay, I'll sand that up and do the other ones and bring you back. I'll put some oil on it. Can already see the chatoyance in the wood. This stuff's gonna be so pretty. See you in a minute. All right, well, got them all done. Let's see, they are very close to identical. Close as my current skill level will allow or enable. But pretty happy with them. I decided I'm going to go with a tung oil finish on these. These are going to be used for food. And this will leave a very long-lasting, very wearable finish. Oh my, look at that. See that chatoyance in there? Wow, so nice. This is good stuff. Yeah, little increasingly large amounts of sapwood in these, but kind of like that. In case you haven't picked it up from my channel yet, I enjoy flaws. Kind of like Phil Anderson. But he's in a class of his own. Whoa, look at that. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Yeah. All right, this is the piece I had to dig out of my scraps to replace the one that flew apart on me. So I couldn't find one that had less sapwood, but gorgeous stuff. Oh boy, that's a nice one. Ooh, look at that figure. The cake stand that goes with this is going to be spectacular because it does have all this same tiger ripple figure in it. Whoa. All right, I'll let these dry 24 hours, then I'll do probably 2 or 3 more coats, build up a nice coating on there that will stand up to use. And then we'll turn the cake stand. So exciting.